Hey there, my Pastafarians. It's nice to be back for another week. So this week we're going to do something a little different. I've got a story from Sketch Note the Time Lord off of Google Plus, and he's been one of my fans since the beginning. So I'm going to do the story he sent me, and I hope you guys enjoy it. It's called The Shadow People. When I was 5 years old, my mom and dad thought I was crazy. They thought I was insane because I saw the shadow of a man that would walk around the house. He seemed to know some things, like about my ADHD and my sisters. It scared me. Let me tell you about the shadow man. My mom and dad thought I was insane and crazy because I saw the shadow of a man. He looked like he was in his 50s by the way he hunched over, and he was really tall. I'd have to guess 5'6", if anything. Frail and tall and long. One night I woke up at 3 in the morning and he was 4 feet away from me. I tried to ignore him, thinking that he's not real, but it seems like when I looked away from him, he would get closer. The closest he came to me one night was just inches away from my bed, but then he seemed to fade away from my eyesight, like a figure of my imagination. But I knew he was as real as my sisters are. But one night he looked sideways, and I noticed that it wasn't a man. It was an older woman. She looked right at me that night. I managed to fall asleep after that, but had nightmares about my sister hurting me. The next morning I talked to my mom about it. I asked her if there was an older lady that lived here before we did. She said, "Yes, honey, she's in heaven now. She passed away 3 years ago in this house. But you're okay." A woman died in this house. I don't know what to say. I feel like someone was watching me. And each night she would appear next to me. I didn't know what the hell was going on. As she got closer every night, she would say one letter. On the first night she said G. The next O, after that O again, and then a D, and then a B, and then a Y, and then an E. I tried to memorize the letters every night as she said them, and on last night, I knew she'd said goodbye. Goodbye? Goodbye? Why goodbye? Till this day, she's been there in my nightmares, night after night after night. She's haunting me. She's scaring me for my life. I can't forget about her. I still feel like she's watching me. But she died in that house, and we moved since then. But I'm still friends with the next door neighbor, Miss Susan, and she knew her name. If I remember correctly, it was Carolyn. And Miss Susan said she knew her like a sister. She died in her sleep, but in the back room of the house. And when I went to look there years later, I found a quarter. It was quite shiny. Old, but shiny. And when I hold that quarter to this day, I feel a presence watching me. Why? Why is she watching me? And that was The Shadow People by our very own Pastafarian, Sketch Note the Time Lord. Yeah, I know it was a little bit short, and for future reference, guys, if you could make it about 1,000 words at least, that would be great, because that makes about a 6 to 7 minute video, and that works best. But since it was short, I figured I'd give you guys a little update on how things in the Chemo Creepypasta world are. So, it's been a month, and since I started this channel, and as you guys know, I'm always trying to write you guys new creepypastas that you've never heard before. And sometimes that takes some research, so I like to go through the old classic creepypastas to gain inspiration, also try to find some fact in them, because, I mean, every story is based in some fact. But, like, recently, I was turned on to a classic little story called SmileDog.jpg. And at first I thought this was like an odd story. I mean, a picture that drives you insane. Kind of sounds like The Ring or some really bad shade mail to me. But for those of you who are unfamiliar with the story, I really suggest you look it up and experience the full effect of it. But the rundown of it is that the story is about a picture of a dog that is smiling an all too human smile. And supposedly after you view the picture, you start having dreams where the smile dog tells you to spread the word. And supposedly, after you send it, you're beyond compelled to kill yourself. Now, as I said, I thought this sounded too much like the movie The Ring. And the funny thing is, when I was researching this terrifying tale, I actually came across something that might suggest it's true. In my searches, I came across a post on my favorite Creepypasta forum, and I'm going to omit the name of the site as it's a little bit of an exclusive group. But the post is made by this girl named Jessica, and she claimed to have found the real Smile Dog image as the one that everyone's seen in the harmless replication, and she offered anyone a chance to see it if they wanted to do so. It was intriguing because I thought it was kind of a BS, right? Like, oh, wow, I thought that you needed certain things to get into this forum. But anyways, so I sent Jessica a message, and from there we started to talk. She told me that she had received a floppy disk in the mail. It was in a manila envelope with no return address. She thought it was kind of funny considering inside the envelope, wrapped around the floppy, was a note saying, "Smile for me." And underneath that was the silly catchphrase associated with the Smile Dog story, "Spread the word." We both had a laugh at the idea that someone was so obsessed with the Smile Dog story that they actually managed to find a floppy disk in this day and age. And they don't even make those anymore. And most computers don't even take them. Jessica went on to explain that after finding a floppy to CD converter off of Craigslist, she transferred everything on the floppy over to the CD. She'd put in the newly made CD and loaded it up. And Jessica had gone to her computer, like my computer file, to open it. And when she did, all of a sudden her computer crashed. She told me that she'd restarted the computer and said that it wasn't really odd that it crashed because it was like not a great computer and kind of happened all the time. So whatever. And she went on to tell me that when she finally got back on her computer, she opened up the CD, and this time she was actually able to do it. And on the CD were two things. One was an image marked smiledog.jpg, and the other was a text note labeled smileforme.txt. She told me that she opened the text file, and all that there was the word smile over and over and over again. Then she went on to open the JPEG, and she thought it was going to be the joke picture, the recreated one. And I'm just going to put it on the screen now so you guys all know what I'm talking about. Anyways, as I was saying, Jessica said that what she'd expected was this picture, but she described, and these are her own words, Kaya was like that, but with no hand, and the dog was a bit different. And that was the exact quote. And I asked her about her dreams after that, because that's a big thing, as I said, start having weird dreams. And she said that she'd indeed had odd dreams, but she'd refused to elaborate on that. So we continued to talk for the next few days after that, and then suddenly she just stopped replying to my emails. Like, I sent her a bunch after that, and just got no response. And so I went to go check if I'd been sending the emails to the right address, because sometimes I screw it up. And to my surprise, all of her emails were gone. Like, there was no sign of them. It was weird, because all of my emails from you guys and all of my followers, subscriber updates, everything else was still there, but nothing involving Jessica was there. And it gets weirder. A week later, I'd kind of forgotten about the whole thing, and I went to go get my mail and found a manila envelope. Surprise, surprise, no return address. I walked into my house and obviously quickly tore the envelope open, and genuinely surprised, inside was not a floppy disk, but was instead a CD, and written on it in red marker were the words "Smile for me" with a question mark. I almost laughed at it when I read it, but then it occurred to me that I'd never given Jessica my address. I was a little bit confused, but I shrugged it off. I'll put a picture of the CD on the screen here. But anyways, I immediately went to my computer and put the CD in. I opened a CD, which also showed up in my computer as Drive D smile_for_me. And I was not surprised by this at all. I clicked on it, and again, go figure, 2 files, a JPEG and a text file. I skipped over the text file, as you guys and I both know what it said. It was just a picture that interested me, though. So I opened it up, and to my immediate disappointment, it was really not too different from the replication. All it was missing was the beckoning hand. I'll admit the smile dog looked a little different, but it wasn't that much different. Sadly, I was wrong. I've been having strange dreams lately, and he tells me to spread the word. I'm sorry, guys, but the picture you're viewing now is the picture that I received. I wanted to stop it with me, but the voices are just too much. I've left instructions for my girlfriend to post this video at my last request. I'm sorry, my fellow Pastafarians. Soon the dreams will start. Smile for me.